welcome to Northumberland Zoo on YouTube. My name is Maxine and I work here. Now, I hope you're ready for the next part of the tour, and like I said last week, we're going to start in the monkey house, or the Rainforest Lookout. So this is our public viewing area of the Rainforest Lookout, and I've already spotted a little creature here on our right hand side. This is the agouti. So this is our only kind of terrestrial species in here, and it's just quite a small kind of forest floor rodent, and they're quite cute. So they're called Azara's agouti. And then in here we have also got 3 different arboreal species. I mean, we briefly saw them last week when we were actually on the exhibit, but we've got the white-faced saki monkeys, the pygmy marmosets, and the Gawaldi's monkeys all live in here. And the keepers have put like this cool little dig box here so that we can kind of encourage the primates down to the window, and there's various different feeding platforms and baskets and things, and obviously rope work and branches that goes right next to the viewing windows as well. We've got some really nice interpretation in here, which is like little sketches, kind of like field notes on clipboards, which I think look quite cool, and a nice map that shows you the relationship between all of the species that live in this building. So there we go, that is the monkey house. So we'll head out here. There's a bit of noise happening on the park this morning, so we're going to go a bit of an unconventional route this morning. So this is our wallaby walkabout, which is a walkthrough exhibit. So in this enclosure we've got the Bennett's wallabies and the Parma wallabies. They're a non-breeding group, so we don't breed them anymore, so you'll not see any joeys. Everybody in here is like full grown. So we'll just have a quick look. Morning!
Hello!
Yeah, good. Back again. So when you visit the zoo, you can actually come into this enclosure with the wallabies. And the wallabies like walk across the path and stuff, and you can't really get anywhere near them. They're not friendly. It's not like a touchy-feely animal exhibit. It's more just the wallabies stay out your way. So there's a bit of an off-show pen at the back where the Parmas seem to like spending some time. You alright? Earlier this year we built them a new house, which is lovely. It's a nice little stable, so a lot more space for them in there. So yeah, public quite like wandering in with these guys, and they're pretty sound species because they choose to kind of stay away from the people. We don't have to worry about them, you know, causing havoc. So we're just gonna head back down past the otter. We're using the wood chipper this morning, which is quite noisy. It can be heard all across the zoo, but we do that for sustainability reasons. So we have quite a few biomasses and boilers on site which we need to keep stocked up with wood, and if we buy ready chipped wood in, not only does it cost a fortune, but you know, that's chipped wood from somewhere else. So we actually buy slabs of wood from our local sawmill and we chip it ourselves. So it's just a bit of a noisy process that we have to keep doing. So we're gonna go down here, which is a bit quieter. You alright?
Hi!
So down here on the right hand side, this used to be a fox enclosure. Back in the day, that's what it was originally created for. I mean, it is overgrown now. We've got a few little plans for it, but yes, that was Foxy's old enclosure. But we're gonna cut down through here. This is our bird of prey area. Wow, honestly, it's like a jungle down here. So we've got barn owls in these enclosures. We've got a little American kestrel in here saying hello. Then down here on the right, we've got Cloud, who is a snowy owl. So we've actually got some plans to move her pretty soon, which would be quite good. So we've got a new space for her so that we can actually make this enclosure, this aviary, twice as big and connect it with the bottom snowy owl aviary. Then we've got our European eagle owls in this aviary. They're up at the back. So all of the birds that we've seen so far are ones that we fly. These ones are hands-off, so they're like parent-reared birds, which means that you can't fly them or work with them. They're for display only. So we're actually building them another aviary down the bottom here. I'll show you that here pretty shortly. When we were in the wild theatre the other day, and I said about these birds have like a working year, they work for about 9 months of the year and then they have 3 months off. Cloud is the one that used to work, so she used to do displays, but unfortunately a few years ago she was spooked really badly by an assistance dog, and she injured herself quite badly, so now she can't fly in displays anymore. So we're going to be moving her into a bigger place where she can just live. Then in here we've got a Harris hawk. So this is Roger. He's getting a little bit of morning sun there. And we've got our buzzard here in the middle, which is Taz. He's an old boy, he's about 17 years old, so we use these guys in our displays as well. My goodness me, like, it is insane what has happened with the growing. Like, we've had so much, I don't know where you're from, but obviously we've had so much rain and just been non-stop weather, so everything has just shot up. Then we get to this aviary down here, and this is Derek, our great grey owl. Derek's a very, very good boy in our displays. He is the largest bird that we fly, and he is very impressive, but he's hiding up at the back there. Then we got Pebbles, our Bengal eagle owl. He's one of our first birds that we had. What he's doing now is he's like being like a chicken. Bengal eagle owl males, they do this thing where they like to create a little nest on the ground for the female and like faff about with pebbles and rocks and stuff, hence why we called him Pebbles. So he likes to there he is running around on the floor. So they're quite a terrestrial bird, but yeah, he's trying to build a nice little nest there. Then we got Strix, our Ural owl, who's probably hiding all the way at the back. He's a little bit antisocial. Each different species of bird, when you fly them, acts totally different. You know, like the great grey owls, like if you imagine the great grey owl head is like, you know, they're a big bird, but like the brain inside is like the size of your pinky. They don't have a great deal of intelligence. So like Derek is just thick as a plank. Pebbles he's pretty decent, but the smartest ones of all are the snowy owls. This is Winter, who's doing pretty much the same thing as Pebbles. So Winter gets flown in our displays over the winter time, because obviously we don't fly him in the summer, so he's currently having a break. And he's back to back with Cloud, which is the snowy owl, on the next pen up. So we want to extend his aviary so he's got more space going up the hill there. Then on the left hand side here we've got our Arctic foxes, which are a very popular exhibit. So it kind of extends all the way down there, and then it goes all the way up there, and our boys are waiting up at the top here. They're looking particularly scruffy at the minute because it's that time of year when they're losing their winter coats and they're looking at their summer coats. So in here we have got Hamish and Dougal. So Dougal straight there, and then look at Hamish down here. He's proper scruffy. You alright, mate? So this is a completely natural thing that they go through. They do it at different rates. So obviously in the wild where they come from, in the summers it's very rocky, there's not a great deal of snow, so there's no need for them to be pure white. But then in the winter it's covered in snow, so they need to be pure white or else they can't catch any prey. So we've added these little brushes on the doors there just to try and help brush them as they go in and out of the house. But yeah, you can see Hamish there is a little bit further behind than Dougal with the shedding process. Sadly, Hamish has been diagnosed with epilepsy, so twice a day we have to give him some special medication to try and help control his epilepsy. So his life expectancy unfortunately is quite short. So even though they're only like 5 or 6 years old, unfortunately Dougal's lifespan will be a lot longer than Hamish's due to his condition. Claudia's just coming in now to see to them, so we'll just hang about and see what's going on.
Hello.
Hi.
You're in bed. Hello. Are you coming out? Look at your meds.
He was out literally 2 seconds ago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he was waiting by the gate. He's just shot in. Oh, I'll go away. Maybe it's the combo.
Oh, it's just scared you.
Oh, he's out now.
Come on, now you come out.
Yeah, it's me, isn't it? Right, I'm going. Sorry.
Thanks a lot.
Oh god, it's really awkward when you try and medicate animals because they're not daft, and as soon as anything changes around them, like for example, me stood here with this black camera, that's it. They're like, nope, you're trying to trap us and you're gonna kill us. So, just fair enough. Alright, mate. So we're gonna head down the river now. So that was the bird of prey area that we just went round. Alright, mate. So down here we've got a little bit of a river that runs down the bottom kind of edge of this part of the zoo. So we're going to go along what's called the river walk. So down here you'll see that we were working on something. Now historically, years ago, we used to have a big European eagle owl aviary here. Well, now we're redoing it. So there's 2 new aviaries that are going in here, which have a much higher, stronger roof. So we're going to put our European eagle owl father and son down here permanently, and we're going to make a permanent aviary for Strix, which is the Ural owl as well. So they're both going to stay down here. So, but because of the elements, we've been battling with wet. So trying to get the digger in here to do a few extra jobs has been a bit of a nightmare. So this has been a little bit delayed, but it'll be a really nice exhibit once it's finished. Right, we'll continue along the river. So the zoo does actually have property on the other side of the river here, kind of to where that far tree line is, and over there we've excavated I think a series of about 5 different wetlands, and it's great because they're maturing really, really nicely. We'd like to make that into like a nature reserve one of these days. We've had all kinds of different species of stuff starting to populate the wetlands, so it's progressing well. Behind us here we've got our kookaburra. So we've got 2 kookaburra, and one of our keepers, Elizabeth, is currently working on training these to try and get them so we can fly them in displays. So she's actually getting them to land on her, which is pretty cool. Right, so we'll continue along here. If you go up this path, it brings you up next to the otters and wallabies, which is where we were before. So up in this next exhibit, so we have a lot of, you might think, right, this looks dead messy, but you know what? This is like really good for the bees. So we've got an apiary on our site, and we've also got a neighboring apiary which has like 20 hives in it. You know, there's a reason for like no mow May and all that kind of stuff. Is like all of these flowers and everything, they're such beneficial feed for the bees. So we do have signs dotted around. Pardon the weeds, we're feeding the bees. You know, just because we don't want to completely just make it a green lawn, because that's not beneficial for any wildlife. So yes, you might think it looks messy, but actually this is like a wildlife haven. There are certain enclosures where we do have to keep on top of them. For example, like any of the cat enclosures, we have to make sure that we keep the grass quite low, and the reason for that is that we don't want to encourage rodents to live in there, because rodents can carry all kinds of diseases, and if say a serval or a snow leopard or something is chasing them and they jump up and they bite them, they can actually transmit some quite nasty diseases and harm our cats. So that's one of the reasons why the grass is actually kept quite trim in these cat enclosures. So here we go. On the left hand side over here we've got a very rare sighting of a wildcat. So it's just sat up on the log there. Don't know if you can see it on the left, kind of hiding behind that tree branch. So in here we've got Ross and Cromitty, which are like an old couple. So they have had kittens in the past, but not here, not at Northumberland Zoo. And these are part of the kind of Scottish wildcat breeding program. So there's no difference between Scottish wildcats and European wildcats. Obviously Scottish wildcats are ones that live in Scotland, and when the UK used to be connected to Europe many moons ago, that's just an existent population of European wildcats that kind of went with Scotland. So they are trying to reintroduce these wildcats into Scotland, and the larger breeding program that they're part of are some of the individuals that are getting released. Right. The next exhibit we've got is our capybara and rhea. In this paddock here we've got 2 rhea and we've got a mountain of capybara, which are all kind of like loafing about over there. So this is our old original capybara paddock. We've got the capybara back in there now because if you've been to the zoo recently you'll have seen that we've got a second tapir. So both the tapirs needed the big house, so we chucked all the capybara down here and spread them out a little bit. Opposite this paddock we've got this very well kept green area, obviously for people who want to spend some time down here during the day. It's a really nice spot because we're kind of down on a dip here, so there's like no wind, it's a little sun trap in the afternoon, it's lovely. So here we go. There's a capybara all chilling out. So we've got another little wild area here, kind of backing onto the lemur exhibit. And we're just kind of following the path of the river. It's called the Long Dyke Burn, that's the name of that water course. And literally just a few weeks ago, it's always worth having a look down here because just a few weeks ago we had quite a few members of the public were very lucky to spot a wild otter. And the wild otter was just chilling out on the sandbanks there. So it is very pretty. Right, so we're just coming around to the bottom of the lemur woods, which is our other walkthrough exhibit here at the zoo. So it's that huge patch of trees there, that's what the lemurs have access to. And this is their house. But before we go diving into the lemurs, we'll head down here and have a look at the lynx. So we don't have European lynx on site, we have Canadian lynx. So when you're first starting out in zoos, because we're still quite a young zoo, but before we got our Canadian lynx we didn't really have anything. So wanting to get like the breeding program of European lynx was like, nope, you are too new, you need experience. So Canadian lynx aren't part of a breeding program, they are easier to get hold of. There's not very many zoos that want them because they'd rather have Europeans, so they were a great opportunity for us to kind of get on the cat ladder. So this is what we've got in this enclosure here. Morning, you're right. So this is our lynx exhibit. So Ryan's just servicing them at the moment. So we've got 2 boys in here. We've got Shadow and Jasper. So Canadian lynx are actually slightly smaller than European lynx. They're all floof, and they've got this very, very distinctive beard. And they've got this really nice exhibit. So when you come down here, so I can just see one at the top there. When you come down, they love sitting in the tree. They like sitting underneath these platforms. Like, you just have to look everywhere, but they do blend in very, very well. So this is the bottom end of the zoo. You can't go past this point. So we're going to go and take a look at the lemurs now. Of course, we can't ignore this massive sculpture on the left here, which is a, believe it or not, a white-clawed crayfish, but it is black. And because we were going for the sustainability message, we didn't want to paint it. So this is actually made from old kind of like scrap cars. So there's various different panels that you may or may not recognize from your actual vehicle. There's a bumper there. That's an emblem off of like an American motorcycle we looked at. These berries, they're called, or eggs. They're all obviously like toilet floats. And we've got various different panels off the back here. So this is just to try and kind of highlight the white-clawed crayfish and how important they are. He's pretty cool though, isn't he? There's a little bit more information about them. Right, let's go and check out these lemurs. So this is their indoor house. So they've got 2 separate bedrooms and they've got their holding area here. Looks like the keepers are just feeding them just now. So we'll go in and we'll say hello. So on the right hand side we've just got more wild. It's matured greatly over the years. When we first came here this was literally just grass. There was nothing. So it's pretty cool. So we'll go see these lemurs first and then we'll come back out and see the raccoons. So the lemurs is a one where you can actually go in with them. So it is a walkthrough exhibit, but it's only for certain times of the day because it has to be manned. We cannot trust the lemurs unattended with people because they are thieves and they steal all kinds of stuff, and they have mastered plastic bags of candy and Haribos. So it is only open for certain times of the day. And surprise, surprise, you're not allowed to bring food in here. Or prams, because they learn that prams is where the food lives. So there's a little double door here. And we're gonna go in. So we have got this kind of bridge on the right hand side, which kind of lets you kind of get into the trees if you like. It kind of gives you an overview of where they've got access to. So in the afternoons the lemurs hang out in the trees and sunbathe. In the mornings they tend to spend a lot of their time on the right hand side here just because that's where the sun is. And in the afternoons they spend a lot of time on that side because that's where the sun is. They follow the sun everywhere they go. And you might see them kind of like sitting and like putting their hands on their knees, and it's called sun worshipping. It's like a yoga position, isn't it? And they got black skin, which means they absorb the heat really, really easily. So it's just ideal for them to sit and hang out in the sun. There's Liam. Hi Liam.
Hello.
So here is the main part of the lemur woods. So there's all kinds of like ropes and platforms here, and all of the lemurs are having their breakfast by the looks of things. We've got a couple of very geriatric lemurs, so I think Casper's late 20s. So a couple of them get their daily dose of painkillers and arthritis relief. So we have to make sure everyone gets their stuff. Hello, good morning. How are you doing? So that was Arthur. They do all look very, very similar, but there are things that you can use to tell them apart. So they've all got slightly different eye colors. They've got different kind of like lengths of ear tufts. Like some of them have really, really dark brown eyes. Others have really, really kind of yellowy eyes. This is one of our yellowy ones. Hello. You're not too sure. So out of all of the lemur species, there's just over 100 species. Depends on who you ask. There's about 106 or 107 species. They're all from Madagascar. They're endemic to that island. That's the only place in the world that you can find them, unless of course you go to Richard Branson's Virgin Islands, where he's decided to reintroduce them, but that's a whole other thing. Not reintroduce them, but he decided to introduce them. But ring-tailed lemurs are the only ones that actually have this very distinctive ringed tail. So they aren't the rarest of all the lemurs, however, they are perfect flagship species. And a flagship species is any species that a zoo keeps in order to try and bring the people in, because they're super cute and really, really pretty. And that can then raise money for your lesser exciting things, like the white-clawed crayfish. So flagships are very important to have as part of a zoo collection. This is Ralph. Always recognize Ralph. He's got very yellowy eyes and very, very, very tufty ears on the right there. So ring-tailed lemurs, they are a primate which is evolved differently to us. So because they were on the island of Madagascar, which obviously separated away from the mainland of Africa, the great apes and that were on the African mainland, so that's your gorillas and your chimps. And then this little kind of branch of primates drifted away to Madagascar, and that included these guys. And that part of the tree is called prosimians. And prosimians, bless their little socks, are just not as intelligent as great apes. And the reason is, we're just following Casper here because he is our oldest boy. The reason why they're not as intelligent is because they don't have an opposable thumb. So when they move their hands, they can do this, but they can't do this as much and actually kind of grip things. And that leads to the ability to use tools. And when you're able to start using tools and manipulating things, then you could develop more cognitive behavior. So great apes, gorillas, chimps, us, we all can do this, but lemurs can't. And because of that, they can't use tools, which means that they're not very smart. But also for them, obviously these guys live in the trees, they bounce around the trees, and if they had a lovely opposable thumb there, they would be snapping it off of a branch every 2 minutes. So evolution, everything happens for a reason. Lemurs, bless them, I like them because they're not that intelligent. So they're a lot easier to keep than some of the more complicated species. But yes, I think that's a great place to end it this morning. So next week, what we'll do is we will start off at our raccoons, everyone's favourite, and we'll head to the snow leopards, and then we'll go and check out quite possibly our most popular exhibit, which is the guinea pigs, and all of our domestic animals. I hope that you enjoyed that little leg of the tour, and if you've got any questions or comments, please do leave them below. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Northumberland Zoo channel and like this video, and I shall see you next week.